sorry to be cutting. Hi, long time no see. Hi, how are you? Hi, good to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to it. All right.
I've been here for over 50 years. I'm Chinese and she's Korean.
Yep.
But we're American citizens.
Yep, that's right.
It is so wonderful about this country. The world is one family. I don't care what nationality are you. If you're a good citizen, it doesn't matter. You are a part of the family. So I just love this country.
Me too.
Yes.
I'm such an introvert and anxious about everything. By the time my family arrived in United States, if we had started out maybe in international district, maybe I would have felt a little more comfortable. But having been in a super minority, being basically the only person of color in my classes, even though I knew how to read and write English, my enunciation, pronunciation was not right. And so I thought, if I wanted to be a business leader someday, how am I gonna speak my mind or be a leader if I don't know how to express myself? So it was hard to actually speak out, and I had to acquire the skills to speak up.
Next, I'd like to welcome to the stage State Representative of the State of Washington, Representative Cindy Ryu.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for this invitation. It might have been easier for me to just get along, but I kind of felt like that would have been a cop-out. And so I spoke up, and so that probably made my otherness even more apparent, but in a way it worked out really well because I completely understand those who say, I feel like I'm from the outside. Would you please at the least listen to me? And I think I'm pretty good at listening because I definitely believe in bipartisanship, especially on policies that affects everyone. 엄마 안녕하세요.
잘 있었어.
오래간만에 마스크 없이 뵀죠?
그러게.
Hi, good to see you. I had started moving from house to house very young because my parents absolutely could not afford to buy a home in South Korea. When I was 9 years old, we started moving from country to country. And I hated it actually because I was barely getting comfortable in South Korea, and here I was as a preteen being moved from South Korea to Brunei. And we went to a couple of different schools there, so every school move was difficult. And then from there to the Philippines, and then waiting for a visa to enter United States, and then moving to a very wintertime, wet, dark, very rural area of Thurston County. So it was hard. I was 12 years old, and I had a hard time adjusting, but I had no choice.
이거는 순길이네 집에서.
네, 승길이네에서 Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's your home.
Oh yeah, our traditional annual Thanksgiving.
That's right. 그래서 다들 잘 살고 있고, 다들 집주인들이고.
Parents did a good job of instilling, I think, their morals and
values,
values.
priorities. 그러니까 우리 교육 시켜가지고 직장 잘 다니고 돈 잘 벌고 집도 사고 그런
패밀리가
교육을 해주셨기 때문에 저희가 열심히. I definitely felt the pressure. My mom probably said I was a good girl, and I definitely behaved as a good girl should. However, I think I was comparing myself to my brothers because they were pretty much free to date, to go and get a job, even a paper route. I kind of felt like I was not as free. I was tied to the housework that I ended up having to do from age 12 because my mom had to work outside the home.
I don't ever remember doing dishes. I don't ever remember cooking. I don't think any of my older brothers did either. It was all kind of on Cindy's shoulder to help my mom. And I think in hindsight, it's unfair, but that's just kind of how I grew up.
I definitely felt the pressure to be an overachiever, do really well, especially in school, make my parents proud, definitely stay out of trouble. And so I probably spoke maybe not even 10% of the time that I felt like speaking out, because I think, especially among Koreans, the children were seen and not heard for sure. And I wanted to honor my parents by not being outspoken or causing any trouble or causing even any stir, I guess, stirring the pot at all. You know, looking back, I bet I had really good ideas that I probably should have contributed to the family conversations because I think they would have benefited from what I had to say.
She was always helpful, very loving sister, and I think she was shy. I don't know if she was, self-repressing or it was just cultural, but if you compare her then, or even all the way through high school, maybe even college, to her now, I think really Cindy found her voice in politics.
엄마 시장하시니까 이제 식사하실까요? 해남갈비 sounds good to you?
Okay, your old strip mall?
That's
Great.
right. Bread and pie.
Most importantly, who's paying?
I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, thanks, Cindy, for lunch. That was really good.
You're welcome.
So how long have you and Cody owned the building?
We had bought it almost 20 years ago, and we sold it right after the Great Recession was over. Yes. So we owned it probably a little over 10 years. When I first started becoming active within the city, serving on the Parks Bond Board and so on, we were actually at the previous building. And as we were starting to redevelop our avenue or planning for it, that's when we ended up buying this building. So it was about the same time. There was a road project that was going to impact our building that my husband and I had just bought, and we actually had an office in it, and so we were interested in what was going to happen. And then the more and more I attended the meetings and gave my comments, the more I became concerned. And so that's when I became interested in, perhaps I need to run for city council because I really didn't like some of the answers I got. If you can't fight them, then you join them, right? And so that became my initial foray into public office. Here we are in Shoreline City Hall. It is beautiful. And if you like to see where the people gather on a very regular basis, this is our city council chamber. So this is where the city council members, including the mayor, would sit on the dais. For me, it is a welcoming place. It is definitely the people's house. So 2003, I ran for the first time. I think I came within 5%. And losing, that was, disappointing, but I understood. I think I lost because I was way too serious. I wanted people to sit down with me and talk about the issues, and people were kind of backing off. And then 2005, I ran again. The incumbent doesn't file. Fortunately, it becomes an open seat. So much easier for me to win that seat. And then serving for 4 years as council member and mayor for 2 years. So as you can see, these are the list of the city council members, and I was the mayor at that time.
Shoreline is a very diverse city, and what we have tried to do is encourage the entirety of our population to get involved, whether it's on boards and commissions, running for office, or being part of the city leadership. And for the most part, while it's never perfect, we have generally done pretty well. We have a diverse council, we have diverse boards and commissions, and Cindy was part of the early wave of that. And it's hard to directly correlate, but the fact that you had a leader who was a woman of color very early in the city's history had to have helped.
I definitely promised everyone I will listen to you. Even if we don't agree, I will listen to you. Welcome to the Richmond Beach Saltwater Park in Shoreline, Washington. This is one of the many parks that we inherited from King County when we became a city 27 years ago. And once we became a city and started taking care of infrastructure, we realized we needed the parks to be upgraded. So as we've found out over the last couple of years during the pandemic, super important for us to have access to the outdoors. It's good for the physical health, it's good for the mental health. So it was super important to me as a citizen and a taxpayer of Shoreline that we directed how we would use that money and for what purposes. So I believe it was worth all that time that we spent in meeting rooms to make those decisions. So here's a plaque when we dedicated the park. I would bring my family and then we would picnic right there. I would point out, hey, this is why you never saw me at home on Monday nights, because this was what I was doing.
So I met Cindy probably 12 or 14 years ago, just through being involved in the environmental community and political stuff. I don't know what hours you spent. It's between 20 and 25 hours a week for me.
Oh,
That sound
wow.
about right?
That's a half-time job. Yeah, I spent close to 60, but
60?
then I know. Yeah, I was a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I guess.
I was working, I would say 60 hours a week, and this is a very part-time pay. I had no dedicated staff, so I was very frustrated. I became what I call the grumpy mayor. Even me, looking back, I know I wasn't likable. And in 2009 was when I was up for re-election. So a few weeks later, I did lose my re-election to my city council position. So I could not continue on as mayor. And I was very disappointed. If you lose, you don't get to continue serving. Losing that 2009 race was extremely difficult because who, as sitting mayor, loses a city council race? Actually, many people do. I wasn't the only, but I felt very lonely, very disappointed. That was November. My term ended that January. By April, we found out the senator was not running again, and there's 3 seats, 1 senator and 2 representatives. So one of the reps wanted to run for Senate, and she called me, and she said, well, would you like to run for my seat? And I said, of course. Here we are at the Washington State Capitol building, and we are in the rotunda, which to this side we have the House of Representatives chamber, and to that side the Senate chamber. So pretty lively place when there are lots of bills to be passed in a very short time.
I volunteered on her very first state representative campaign because I was really impressed with her as someone who is totally committed to public service and who wanted to go into politics for what I view as the right reason, which is she wanted to make a difference in the world around her rather than she wanted a title or she wanted a job or any of the other reasons people can go into it.
Hi, Jim.
Oh, hi, Representative.
Do you have a minute?
Please come in.
Great. All right. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
You know, I really appreciated all your work on fir crest, and in fact, I had something I wanted to show you. This is kind of fun. This is an aerial photo from the 1950s, I think. This led me to do another search, and there's archives at King County.
Oh, wow.
Through the Roads Division that have these aerial photographs. So I'll email those to you as well.
Yes, if you would. And I see the white buildings that were there
you can
already.
see those.
Wow.
That was back when they probably didn't leak.
Right. When they were pretty new, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wow. That's the 400 units of housing that we want to build on that side. And then, let's see, it would be where...
Right here.
Yeah, where the community center would go in.
Yeah. You know, you've done so much work with the community to kind of bring this vision forward. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Amazing. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You made my day.
Oh, fun. I'm really glad you came by.
Hi, Leslie. Thanks for coming.
Good to see you again.
Yes, likewise.
It's been a while.
I know.
I mean, probably in the past year, our firm has audited over 100 million of those funds that have come through the state of Washington.
Right.
And to, support immigrant relief and housing assistance and foreclosure prevention.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, foreclosure prevention. It costs $36,000 per year per homeless person. I know. Versus prevention, it's like 1,000 here, 2,000 there. So you've seen the numbers.
The past couple of years really has highlighted what the needs are in the community, and that it's not just a response to COVID that the needs exist, that they were always there.
That's right. It just was painfully more apparent with COVID-19. This was so fun. Anytime, just email me, contact my office, and we'll get together again, whether virtually or in person.
Thank you. Yeah.
And their bubble tea is great.
I know, right?
So I'll come back for more.
Yeah.
So I've supported Cindy ever since she won that first representative campaign. She's been our representative throughout. We work closely with her on a variety of issues. She's very committed to the state as a whole, but we can also count on her that if we need something locally, she can help us, if possible, get funding for it. There's a county program out to build 5 crisis centers. We're already started on it, and Representative Davis has been working with us. We would love some funding to get ours off the ground, but the mental health emergencies, that's giant hole emergency.
If you have Representative Davis working on it, I'm right there.
Both of us immigrants. We come here to look for liberty, justice, and pursuit of happiness. And that's what our goal is. And we may have differences like you have differences in families. But we need to work together, understand it, work through the differences, and achieve the common goal. That's the only way we can succeed.
Cheers.
Cheers. The growth that I see in myself over the last 20 years is tremendous. So there's many different ways of having what you could call a legacy, but it doesn't necessarily have to have your name on it. It's actually, in a way, very freeing. At the beginning, I thought I had to have my names on everything. I thought my bills had to pass. But I've come to a point where I'm willing to share the stage. I'm willing to help other people's bills pass. So it's a matter of finding balance, and then at the end of the day, knowing that I made a difference.
She represents to the Korean community what is possible.
나는 우리 딸이 그렇게 잘할 줄을 몰랐지. 그냥 조용하고 엄마 잘 도와주고 그리고 말을 많이 안 해. 집에서.
Most important, when my grown children say, "I'm proud of you, Mom," is like, that's all I need.